but the way Imsa work the regulations, it means those that are on the pit stands have as much work to do as those that are behind the wheel, and that is what makes it an endurance challenge as well as a sprint challenge. 2 hours are on the clock. A fantastic field of 33 GS cars, then a little break to the second safety car, and then they will pick their way through a 7, 8, 9, 10 car issue. LAP's Mustang is bent and broken, and they didn't even get to the start line before we had the incident. Pick the bones out of that Core Motorsport in there. Also see the 71 Aston Martin in there as well. This is a huge coming together. BGB Porsche in there. The Steve Vetterau, number 37, Peregrine Racing car in there as well. I can't even see them all, and there's some walking wounded
Turner
as
96 in there too.
Well, that's what happens when you start the back. Scott Thompson in the 30 Mustang going slowly for LAP. That was one of the ones that was more easy to pick out. I reckon that's at least 7 cars in stationary at the moment, and probably another 2 or 3. This is not going to be a quick clean-up, Peter Mackay, because there are fluids on the track.
So on the pit wall, there's going to be very, very quick calculation going on right now, because this completely blows the strategy window open. Last year we saw in the race no full course yellow at all for the first time, and well, we didn't even get across the start finish line, and the full course yellow has had to be called. Let's hope that all of the drivers are all right in there. The AMR safety crew on the scene to check that everyone is okay.
Yeah, the call from race control is this is a quote short yellow. That is a technical term that means the pit lane will not open. Now, obviously, anybody who has got damage can come into a closed pit and have that damage fixed without any major penalty. They will have to come back again when it goes green. At least 8 cars involved, including Tom Collingwood, Vin Barletta, Dan Aman. These are all cars that have had issues. So Maddie Stewart from CSM, Steve Wetterau from Carbon, BGB, Tom Collingwood, we spotted that one. Frank Depew for Rebel Rock, Vin Barletta for Turner, Medusa Motorsport, Athens Sterling, Ray Mason from Core, number 60, the VRC Motorsports Dan Aman car, and there's some walking wounded on top of that as well, as remarkably, it looks like Dan Aman's Porsche has been extricated. He's trying to restart it. He might get that car. Here comes the field. He's going to drop a lap. The field sensibly being taken down the pit lane, which is closed in terms of stopping and taking service. This is absolutely what we didn't want to see. It all happened at the back of the 33 car GS grid. Green flag, and all it took was... yeah, it was a bit of a push by the bright orange Mustang and bright orange AMG, excuse me, to the car in front that spun it to the left. Managed to get away with just the pop bonnet. I think we might see some sanctions applied. The driver's right-hand side is where it started. It was the Peregrine car that got pushed across the track. But I have to say, I don't think it was their problem. Steve Wetterau got pushed from behind, Peter, and that's what started the domino effect.
That's going to take a long time for race control to go through each and every one of the onboard videos. They'll have to ask the teams to submit footage if possible and go through that, because it's so difficult to make a call. There's so many cars involved, and it looked like a kind of domino effect, and unfortunately the domino that fell was the Carban BMW that got pushed across the line, and then that into the path of the cars behind. What a pity. This is not the way we wanted to start the Alan J Automotive Network 120 at all, and now this is so difficult for the teams, because it's very difficult to predict now when this full course yellow will end. You've almost got to try and think, how long is that going to take? The Murillo Mercedes has got back going again.
That's the car that started it for me.
It's so hard to say. It might have been. It was right in the middle of it, though. You're right. It was the reason why the bonnet of that number 24 Mercedes is pushed up, because it was the car that ended up in the back of the Peregrine BMW. But it might have been pushed from behind as well. We just don't know.
What I can't say is whether Aurora Strauss, who's in that car, got a push, or whether the cars in front of her checked up. But the action of her hitting Steve Wetterau is what swung him across to driver's left. It's pretty hard to hide when you've got a bright orange car. Wetterau is in the dark grey and yellow machine, grey and green machine.
Big check-up.
He checked up. Wetterau's checked up because someone was out of line going slowly.
One of the Supras.
It is one of the slower starting Supras that got out of line. Steve didn't want to overtake because that would have been a penalty for him. You're not really supposed to pull out of line, so there was a problem for one of the Supras further down the field. Was that Harrison Goodman in the BSI racing car?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. The red and black car, that is their colours. The TCR field had to pretty much stop to get through the debris field, and the worry there will be potential punctures on their Michelin tyres.
Was Harrison Goodman, who just got a little bit out of line, and then it just checked up. It's a really difficult one for race control to pick the bones of. That's exactly what they'll be doing right now. Now, when we're at Daytona for the BMW M Endurance Challenge, we can see right into race control because it's clear glass.
Yeah.
We don't have that luxury right now, but we know it'll be. They're up there somewhere looking through this one.
Hole, Peter.
Yeah,
that could
get a little periscope.
Yeah, from the Ford Racing Global Broadcast Centre. Let's check in with our pit lane reporters. Our BDO team already working the lane there, and Ryan Marine is at LAP, one of the cars that was involved, but it did at least come back to the pit lane, Ryan.
It's actually a remarkable feat. Scott Thompson drove that car all the way around. His view was almost completely obstructed by the hood that was up covering the windshield. That hood, crumpled and damaged, has been removed entirely from the front of that car. I had a peek inside the engine bay looking at the frame. I don't see anything out of sorts there. I don't think it was actually that heavy of an impact, but what it has done is it's crunched up a lot of the plastic components and the hood, things like that. The lights, the right front headlight in particular, has been pushed back into the engine compartment. Right now, they're trying to remove all of the bits and bobs on the car that might have come loose in that contact. One of the crew members has a fistful really, of zip ties that they're going to try to use to secure anything that's been knocked loose. I'd be also a little bit concerned about the radiator. The grill's been pushed back. I can't see, because there's a crew member there, if it actually has been pushed back into the radiator or not. But things, I think it's probably okay. The only bad news is the field is coming through, and Scott Thompson and LAP Motorsports are about to lose a lap.
Also down in the pit lane, Arjuna Kankapati. Arjuna, did you see if the Porsche came through, the number 91 Cayman? Did that get back to you?
I don't see it on timing, John. I'll head that way towards pit lane. I was just taking a look at the replay with one of the teams, and they were trying to pick their way through the mess of what was happening. And yeah, there's just a lot of frustration down here on pit lane.
I can imagine. I can't imagine. That's all your best plans for a race like this have just disappeared in a moment. Now, what this does do, the pit wall will be on the radio to their drivers, Peter, saying, save, save, save. If we get this into a window where you can do just one pit stop for both of those classes, this will be a completely different race to what we're expecting. Better or worse, I won't say. As into the